To be honest, I am completely shocked at what went down at this auction.
160, 150 bid, 160, 150 bid, 160, 150 bid, 160, 160, 170, 160.
Hey, what's up, millionaires? Mitch Durfee here, and back in DC on my way up to Vermont right now. Just finished up the Masters of Influence event in Orlando. Drove back to West Palm last night, packed, went over to the investment property first thing, or one of our flip properties in Florida, to do a quick little walkthrough, make sure everything's on track while I'm up here. Also, finally got an update from the bank on one of our other properties that I own, and refinance is going through. Should be able to wrap that thing up in the next 2 weeks, so that's huge. Kind of racing here through the airport, a little out of breath, but I just landed about 3 minutes ago, and I was planning on doing this quick little video, but the flight that I'm gunning on right now is boarding again. I don't want to be stuck here after missing the flight. So last time I did one of these videos, I literally was stuck just over there. So this time, looks like I might make it on the plane. Door's still open, so I'm gonna have to finish this this vlog up when I get up to Vermont. And basically this vlog is going to be about an auction property that we're buying in Vermont tomorrow. So I'll have to give the footage. Yeah, boarding group 9 to 9. So I'll see you guys on the other side. All right, so we are coming up to the auction property now, and Chris and I, this is my millionaire friend Chris Kelly, one of my early on investor partners. So we're just discussing strategy and what we're going to be doing for this property and how we're going to be bidding on it. There are a lot of people that have been chatting about this property, so I'm not sure where it's going to go, but we're kind of thinking we want to sit around 100,000 for an auction price. We've picked up properties in the past around 60 to 120,000. This one it's pretty high demand because the water is right behind us. So there's definitely some heavy hitters that are, oh yeah, it's a full crowd. But Chris and I have won quite a few auctions, so I'll keep you updated on everything as we walk through this thing and do a walk around, and I will do my best to get this property. If not, then we'll tell you everything about it. But basically, this is a 2,000 square foot house, less than a half mile to the water. So big, Franklin County, everyone's big on fishing here. Yep. But I think with 2,000 square feet, this property could go for north of 300,000 ARV. Conservatively, we want to stick around probably, we're saying around 200,000 or so. Yeah. So we're gonna see what we can do on this property. We're thinking repairs. How much repair costs do you think, Chris?
About $5 a square foot.
Okay. Yeah. So it could go anywhere between $80 and $100,000 on repairs, depending on what it needs. But we're gonna jump in, do some foot filming here. We have about 30 minutes before the auction kicks off. Okay, actually, I didn't tell you this. One thing you have to do, and I'm gonna probably repeat it a couple times in this video, is you wanna make sure you bring a what?
$10,000 certified check.
$10,000 certified check. That's right, thanks Chris. So yeah, you can't show up to an auction without having one of these checks, because a lot of times they won't let you actually bid. So make sure that you get a bank check ready to go for these auction properties. So I'll show you guys some stuff, and hopefully we get this. Wish us luck. What do we got for numbers?
This one probably is going to sell at the end for $335 to $350. So I think it's a $350 sale when it's all said and done. So whoever bought it here today, let's see how he does.
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Hey, what's up, millionaires? Mitch Durfee here, and today we went down and looked at an auction house. I'll show you some of those clips in this video of basically the auction and the whole process. But to be honest, I am completely shocked at what went down at this auction. Basically, long story short, this house is in St. Albans, Vermont. A few months ago, we did buy another auction house up here, and we're waiting for that thing to close so we can get going. It's just gonna be another fix and flip. But the property that we went and looked at today, when we first went down there, we ran our comps. We thought this property would sell for somewhere around the $300,000 range. Now, with those numbers in mind, we were basically budgeting around $125,000 for a purchase price, because if we can buy the property at $125,000, and we estimated based on the square footage that it would cost about $80,000 to rehab this house. When we showed up, there was a little bit of mold up in the basement ceiling. The furnace system was a little old, dated, and getting down to the basement had a spiral staircase. Now, all of these things, they're not really ideal setups for finished space in the basement, even though they were counting that on the square footage. So basically our price of $300,000 for this property was kind of low, but or would have been lower because that square footage that was in the basement wouldn't be able to be used for a comp. But again, this property did have a lake view, so I wasn't sure about the lake view. So with that lake view, it kind of evened out. And I think that the after repair value of this property, the ARV, would be somewhere around the 330 range. Now again, with those numbers in mind, if we're paying 125 and putting 80K in, that's 8 weeks worth of work to make somewhere around the $100,000 after everything. Well, those numbers work for me, right? If I'm putting $200,000 into a project, I have to make $100,000 on it. I just can't go anything less than that. It just doesn't make sense to me. And usually when we're using hard money loans, our rule is if we put 50,000 in, then we got to make 50,000. So we're basically on an auction house, we're paying all cash for this. So we would be in this property almost $200,000 to make $100,000. Those numbers get really tight. Anyways, so what happened at this property, so many incredible other investors, and it was fun to see them all, like a lot of sharks at this property. My broker was there, Sean Shaney, another guy for that I've been working with for about 5-6 years now, as an agent. He's awesome. He's one of the top agents in the area, and I've been on his team for, like I said, for a few years now. In the real estate, but I don't do a lot of transactional real estate. I do more investing side of things. But he was there working with another buyer. But again, his buyer was interested in this property, and his buyer's numbers, his profit, he needed to make 50,000 on it. So he had a number in mind that he would bid up to make 50,000. This property ended up selling for $192,000. Now, mind you, this property had that tax lien on there on top of it for another $35,000. So not really great at doing the math super quick, but let's just say $190 purchase price with a $35,000 taxes on top of that puts you at $225. But the other thing that you have to remember is this property, also because it's an auction, has a 10% premium, which means that whatever the purchase price is, you also have to pay 10%. So he paid $190 plus another $19,000. Again, simple math, we're at $210 plus the $35. That's $245 for a purchase price for a house that needs $80,000 in renovations. Puts him at $320, which is what this property is worth in my book. Maybe it could go to $350, but again, you're in this thing so much money in order to get this thing to work for you. Those numbers just don't work for me, and I think that in this real estate business, it's important to show up. It's important to know your numbers. It's important to stick to those numbers. And even though I adjusted for 35 grand, I still decided to walk away from this property. But again, someone out there was interested in this property, and maybe it makes more sense for them, or maybe they're just trying to keep their guys busy. Whatever it may be, I wish them all the luck in the world. I hope that they can save some money on this property, on the renovations. I hope that the furnace doesn't need anything, because that could be a quick 10,000. Anything that comes up on this property could really cost them some money. So the other thing I also want to say is a little pro tip for an auction property. Again, make sure you show up with a $10,000 check, from a bank, certified bank check, because you're not going to be able to bid on these properties. We did bid on the property, which is always fun. It's always exciting. It's always a little nerve-wracking bidding on the property, but we were one of the first bidders on the thing. And again, when it went over 125, we stopped. And I was shocked to hear it go past 150. And when it went to 190, I couldn't believe it. Those numbers just get so tight. But here's another pro tip. Sometimes, not all the time, if a property has back taxes, like this one at $35,000, 5 years worth of back taxes, you can sometimes go to the tax office and ask them, to negotiate on those taxes. We've done this before, and you can basically just go in there and say, hey, I see that there's a $35,000 tax bill. I was wondering if I paid the principal, if there was anything you could do on the penalties and interest. And sometimes you can save some money there. So that's why we were able to kind of make the numbers work for us. Again, super disappointed that we didn't scoop this property up, but I'm not going to put $200,000 into a property. Well, like this other person did. I'm not going to put 250, almost $300,000 in a property in cash to make 30 grand in 10 weeks. Doesn't make sense. So stick to your numbers. And again, if you find any of this stuff valuable, if you're thinking about buying auction properties, just keep looking. Here's where I find my auction properties. A lot of times you can just do a search for an auction company and find out who's selling them. Sometimes banks will list them in the newspaper. And sometimes you just have to drive around and you'll see a sign for an auction today. And just, again, that's why I like to keep that $10,000 check ready to go sometimes if I'm really looking for auction property. So that's it in this video. Hope you find this valuable. If you guys are interested in fixing your credit, learning about investment properties, auctions, Airbnbs, any of that fun stuff, definitely stay tuned. Again, I'm up here in Vermont looking at an auction property today. After I get back, this is my Airbnb that I'm at right now. After I get back to Florida, we'll be finishing up that flip, and we're going to be hunting down some more multifamily properties. See you guys in the next video. Catch you on the flip side. Peace.